Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going, close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Welcome back to the Pick and Go podcast. For you to find out everything you need to know about Super Rugby. And we're almost there, boys. Round one. Only a few days away.
Creeping up.
It's creeping up. And this comes in off the big news that Will Jordan is out for the season.
I know.
Gone. So you look at that Crusaders squad now, and first of all, look at who's not there. Sam Whitelock, Will Jordan, Richie Mwanga, Lester Whanganuku. But first of all, that's half an All Black backline. Not there, Pity.
I know. I think, with his experience too, to help nurture through some of these up-and-coming talents in the Crusaders franchise. But I backed them to pull a gem out of the rough. They're known to pull a few kids that come through, whether it's down in Canterbury or in a schooling environment that's excelled really well to get the job done. And I mean, we talked about the Landers and the young boys just with the energetic levels of wanting to play in Super Rugby against the Hurricanes a couple of weeks ago in the preseason. I'm pretty sure they'll find a gem in their squad that'll help create opportunities for some of those boys that are still there.
Right, let's bring in our good friend from up north, Ben Searle of Searley Talk Sports. Searley, huge news out of Crusader camp today around Will Jordan. So obviously you've put the line through them. They're done for the season.
Yeah, well, I put the line through them last week, so I'm feeling really good about it now. There's nothing better than when you make a bold prediction and then it becomes a little less bold. But yeah, like Pity said, man, they've still got options. I was thinking about it this morning. Like, they could easily move David Harville to the back and go with Dallas McLeod and Levi Armour in the midfield, and that is still outstanding. Or they could shift Macca Springer back there. So it's hard to feel too sorry for them. I do feel sorry for Will Jordan, though. I don't think he played much Super Rugby last year either because he had that ear infection thing going on, and then he misses 6 months now with shoulder surgery. So I feel sorry for the bloke because anytime he's out on the field, it's an entertaining game. But just opens up doors even for guys like Sean Stevenson and that to push even more for the black jersey as well.
You bring up a good point there, Shirley. That I guess, pickup of Levi Armour becomes even more important now because it gives the Crusaders options. As you say, if they want to, they can move Harville to the back, and they've still got a very, very good, solid, no, not even a solid, they've got a, Omua was one of the players of Super Rugby Pacific last year. He was superb for Moana Pacifica. So that pickup just looks even more crucial now for Crusaders.
Yeah, I think any other country, those two would be your starting midfield for an international side. I know our mates across the ditch, the Wallabies, they would love to get their hands on two players like that. So, yeah, they're stacked with quality. I'm sure they'll find a way to make it work, but it certainly dents them in terms of their offensive strike power and that leadership, like Pity said.
Pity, there must have been a number of times during your playing career where you lost a vital player. I'm pretty sure Dane Coles was out a number of times towards the end of his career. There would have been other players as well. How does the squad respond to something like that?
What environment are we talking about here? Because there's two different, like with the Canes, obviously, when you lose one of your leaders to something like that, it's not nice. But you've built enough depth around that in that position to help nurture players through. But if you've got the likes of, like, for example, if you've got a young 10 and you've got the likes of TJ Perenara on the inside of you, helping you guide you through if it's your first sort of campaign in Super Rugby. It's not bad having him there. And then you've got Geordie on the outside as well, if they put Geordie at 12. So the experience there to allow a young player to excel, by having those experienced players play, it's pretty easy. If I was talking about when we were playing in the black jersey, we had a lot of meetings in the World Cup, and it was around the what if. So obviously Dan Carter did his groin, Colin Slade, and even Aaron Cruden. We basically planned for us to play on without them, and it was through that helped us. Whoever jumped into that position could just purely play footy, while we all just tried to make sure that we did our jobs without overdoing anything and trying to play an extra card that you probably don't have in your back pocket. But we prepared ourselves really well around those scenarios, so I'm pretty sure they'll have their backups when it comes to things like that.
So it sounded like you had a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and you just kept moving down the alphabet.
Just like
And then you fell on Beaver.
You didn't pick up the phone the first time, bro. Just trying to ring you, cuz. Pick up that dial, brother.
Did he bring any one-bay fritters with him when he came into camp? What was the situation?
Well, there's a story that he brought some and it was off and gave it to me, but I knew not to eat it. I'm from the West Coast down in Hokitika, so if I had eaten that, my grandparents would have kicked my ass.
Oh, that's fantastic. Look, we were going to talk about another topic, and I think we'll dive into it now. We just couldn't let the big news of Will Jordan out for the Super Rugby season go by. I asked you guys, who do you think will be the wooden spooner this year in Super Rugby? We'll go to you first, Shirley.
Yeah, I've got the Waratahs, which is quite tough to say because historically they're a really proud franchise, but I've been worried about them in the preseason. They got 38 put on them by the Rebels, lost to the Reds 32-7, and then over the weekend they drew with Warringah from the Shute Shield 7-all. So yeah, that's a club footy side that managed to grind out the draw with a professional footy side. So yeah, I noticed in the comments too, Waratahs fans, they're not too optimistic. They were spraying them once they saw that result. So I'm going to go with the Tars. I think it could be a tough year for them.
Pity, your wooden spooner for this season?
Ooh, it's a tough one.
I see the bookies have got Moana Pacifica as the rank outsider to win the comp at $201. Then they've got the Force at 101.
Well, I was contemplating on saying the Force, but after our conversation last week, when Shirley was rambling off all the thing, I'm thinking, oh, there goes my opportunity to pick them because they're doing so well in the preseason. So yeah, it's a tough one, because you never know. On the day, results in preseason don't really matter. It's more them trying to fine tune and get their structures right. But yeah, I think I'd have to say Moana, just purely off the back that they're still trying to grow. They never had that opportunity that the Drua had playing in Australia in a good and tough competition, and which meant that they got time to build together. And obviously, we've seen the results over the World Cup with how good Fiji went, and they're just growing with confidence. The Drua, I mean, they made the playoffs last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
And no one expected that. So I think with Moana, they've still got a bit of development and a bit of fine tuning, but I think they'll probably be down the bottom there. Hopefully, they prove me wrong, because I don't want to say that, but my
Tana.
Not so much Tana, but just my brother Pacifica.
You mean the whole squad?
Not much. I don't want to get a hiding.
I'll replay this to the boys.
Pre-game rev up.
Yeah.
Hard.
Hopefully, Tana, he replays this to them before every match. That'll get them fired up.
Oh, the bus will probably give me a slap around the ears too.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I think Moana Pacifica, again, I think first of all, they need to find a home base like the Drua. and I think they need to take it to the islands. They've got to go either share it between Samoa and Tonga, or just make one of the islands their home base and say, this is our fortress. Just like heading over to Fiji in that humidity, those conditions where the crowd will be 100% behind Moana Pacifica until that happens. And it's, I hate to see it. I'm really happy for Levi Omua for getting a contract with the Crusaders, but just scraping the cream off the top of the Moana Pacifica, it doesn't help them at all. So I think they're going to struggle a bit this season. I hope they don't finish bottom of the table, but it's very, very hard for mine to not see that happening at the moment. So I hope they prove me wrong, and I wish them all the best. Right, round one starts Friday. We're not that far away. And it's a replay of last year's grand final against the form team of Super Rugby Pacific 2023, the Chiefs, who were superb and just went down to a Crusaders team who's been there, done that before. They turn it on. The boys currently have the Chiefs $1.60 favourite against the Crusaders, who are $2.45. The Chiefs are 4.5-point favourites. The total points in the game are set at 53.5. Surly, first of all, how do you see this game playing out?
Well, I think I've made it clear. I'm big on the Chiefs' intentions this year and not so big on the Crusaders. Of course, the Crusaders, they're a quality football side and they're always going to be there come finals time. But I think the outs for them, especially early on in the season, are really going to hurt. There's a lot of chat. Ethan Blackadder might be missing a bit of time at the start of the season as well. So the Chiefs, for me, they've lost a lot of quality, but at the same time, they've built a bit of cohesion over the last couple of years. When you look at their squad, most of them have been in that system now for at least 2 or 3 years. So I think they're a pretty tight bunch and well established. So at home in front of a vocal Hamilton crowd, they've formed a real rivalry against the Crusaders, and there's a lot of bad blood there. So I think that home crowd plus the rivalry and them wanting redemption for last year, I'll be backing the Chiefs.
Is that a big thing, Pity, if you first game of the season and you come up against a team that you lost to the season previous, does that give your team more motivation, or is it just wipe the slate clean, it's a new season, let's just get on with the job?
Yeah, probably that last part, wipe it clean and just focus on creating a good campaign by getting a win. That's always the biggest thing for most teams, is trying to start the campaign off really well by getting a W. But not only that, if you're going to do it, make sure you do it the way that you've planned it, with your structures, your game plan, and just executing that and making sure that no one's sort of trying to do something that they're not usually good at doing. But yeah, if you can get a start through the campaign where you've won, that just helps you sort of create, I guess, a bit more opportunities for yourselves as a squad, and probably most important is belief that you guys can do it, because you play, for example, this first round, Chiefs and the Crusaders, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So this is their opportunity. Obviously, the Chiefs last year were the better team throughout the whole campaign, but we all know what the Crusaders are like. Finals time, they know how to grind it out. They've been there for so long that when it comes to finals footy, they always manage to grow an extra arm and a leg just to get the win, and it's frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating to have a great campaign and then you get to there and all that's out the window, and you've got to actually understand that finals footy is the most important one, because that's the one that counts.
I don't want to bring it up, but I'm going to the Rugby World Cup, that you've almost explained exactly what happened in the Rugby World Cup. The All Blacks look like the form team throughout the competition, get to the final, and then South Africa just grind it out. They just limit your opportunities. They get down into enemy territory and they kick goals. They get points. and they just. I don't want to say frustrated because the All Blacks didn't look frustrated in that World Cup final for mine, but the Springboks, I thought, just didn't let the All Blacks play the way they had been playing throughout the tournament. So the Crusaders sort of remind me of that, where they get to the final and they go, okay, we're not going to let you play your game. We're going to make it come under our terms. And if you can stick with us, good. And if not, too bad, boys. A bit like the Kansas City Chiefs, who looked very average during the NFL regular season. Once Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and co get to the playoffs, they just turn it up a notch. They know how to win the big knockout games. So, I like the Chiefs. I do. I really like them here, and not just because of all the, I guess, commotion that's been going on with the Crusaders. I just, at home, I just think, even if it's subconsciously, I think the Chiefs will be up for this game more than the Crusaders, and they'll have that home crowd behind them. I like the systems that they run there as well. They're almost Crusader-like. Not quite, but they're almost Crusader-like. So, yeah, I do like the Chiefs at $1.60. They'll be going into a number of my multis for Super Rugby round 1. We'll go on to the next game. Now, we're not going to have a look at every game because we just don't have enough time these days, but we will definitely focus on all the games that feature at least one New Zealand team. And the next cab off the rank is, well, it's Friday night or Saturday morning, depending on how you want to look at it. The Hurricanes travelling over to Perth to take on the Force. The Force at $3.50, Hurricanes at $1.30. The Force are 11.5-point underdogs, and the game total set at 57.5. We'll go with you, Pity, first. Obviously, you've got a lot of oil out of Hurricanes camp. You're really close to the team. You can let us know exactly what's going on with the Canes.
Who's the first try scorer, Pity? Tell us, mate. Who's the first try scorer?
Who's the top try scorer? That's all I've got now. No, look, I mean, they've they had a slow start to their campaign in terms of getting things right. They obviously lost to the Highlanders. They got a win last week against Moana Pacifica. If you factor in the travel, it's like 8 hour. It's an 8-hour flight to get there. I've done that flight before. It's ugly. It's hot too. So it's going to be a tough old slog for the boys to.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yep.
Are you guys in economy or are you up front somewhere?
It depends on the flight, I think. When I have done that flight, half of the team was on the first class or business class or whatever it is up the front there, and then most of the management were at the back. Just so that the boys could actually, stretch out and recover and travel well. So, yeah. Otherwise, if it's a small plane, we're just
everyone the same.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's a long flight for those big boys.
Well, what they try and do is put all the tall guys, the locks, and put them in the exit rows because there's more space there, so that people can sort of get out of the plane if there is an accident. So yeah, if you get one of those seats, the locks look at you like, "Yeah, right, mate. I'll go and sit in the back where there's no room for my legs, my short ass legs." But I want to tip the Hurricanes. So they need a good start to get their campaign up and running. Got a new coach, head coach, the likes of TJ and his experience coming back to try and guide these boys around the field, and you never know. We'll probably find a few of our top try scorers come out of the game on the weekend.
Surly, Pretty just mentioned TJ, and of course they've also got someone called this Roygaard fella, who, boy, he had a big season last year, and he comes into this season with a record equaling Bronco time. So he looks to be fit as a fiddle. You see him being one of the important factors in this Hurricanes campaign, especially with the fact that no Artie Severe. So there's there's a whole lot of, well, first of all, there's 80 minutes worth of 120% of energy and effort gone with Ardie Savea not there. But do the Canes have enough cover to, I guess, negate that loss of Ardie?
Yeah, it's intriguing, isn't it? Like in the ideal world, you'd be able to play both TJ and Roygaard at the same time because they're both international players. TJ's a great leader, and you lose some of that leadership with Ardie being gone. So ideally, you'd like to have them both on the paddock, but I think it's going to be kind of a 50-30 split in terms of minutes, and it's going to be competitive between them both each week. So that'll be a great matchup, just great matchup internally just to watch. But I think they do have some pretty good cover in the loose forward trio. It's pretty untested, but there's so much talent there, like Devin Flanders, Duplessis, Karifi, Peter Lakai. Those three alone, like they'd be starting at most franchises. And you got guys like Brad Shields, who brings a wealth of experience back with him as well. So I think they do have enough to cover there, but you'd love to have Ardie. Best player in the world, in my opinion, and he's going to leave a big void there, but it gives opportunities for guys to step up. And for the next 6 months, that 8 jersey is up for grabs. So if you're a Peter Lakai or someone like that, you'd be licking your lips at this opportunity because you go well there and the world's your oyster.
Is there anyone in that squad, Pity, that you can have a look at and think, oh, yeah, this is one player who I think will stand up with that loss of experience of Savea?
Well, it just depends on what, I guess, how they pick their squad on, their starting 15. I mean, obviously, Brad's come back into the fold. He's captain this year. So, there's a lot of experience. He might not have the same energy as Ardie, but what he does bring is, he'll grind it out for 80 minutes. So NPC last year, they had their ugly week where they played Saturday, Wednesday, and Saturday again. And the team itself made over 200 tackles, and right in the middle of all that was Brad Shields in terms of one of the top tacklers between those 3 games. So, although he might not show the same energy as Ardie, he's definitely still one that's going to bring a wealth of experience to help these boys come through. So he's probably one that I'd say would help bring that energy, and rather than by speaking and things like that, his will be just grinding away and working hard, and sort of just not as I guess impactful as Ardie is in the game, where he's pretty much everywhere.
What I've taken from that from both of you is that you're on the Canes to win this Friday night, Saturday morning.
I think there's potential for a slip up here just because.
He said that last week about how good the force looked, man. So I knew he might be like, oh, hang on.
I think like this is the worst possible outcome for round 1 for the Canes. Like you don't have to travel any further than this in the competition. They've had a pretty disrupted preseason. Like they were great the other weekend against Moana, but they haven't had a lot of their big dogs in to establish combinations. I saw that point start. I think yesterday it was 13.5, and I jumped on board in favor of the Force just because like a 13+ win in Perth is not easy to pull off as the road team. So I'd love to see the Canes win, but I think like head to head, there's some value around the Force. They're paying over 350. So,
Pity, you're not going that way, surely.
No, I'll stick to the Canes this week.
Look, I hear what Sealy's saying there, and he's right. 11.5 is a huge hurdle to overcome in Perth against the Force. I'm happy to take the Canes at the $1.30, but if you ask me to have a look at the point start, then I'm still favouring the Force plus 11.5. I still think that's fairly generous, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see that get crunched in another point or two before kickoff, just through weight of money. I think there'll be a number of punters out there who are quite keen to jump on the Force plus 11.5. Right, next game, Saturday afternoon, the Blues hosts the Fijian Drua. Blues $1.14, the Drua $5.50. The Blues 16.5 point favourites, and the game total is set at 61.5. that would suggest we're going to see an open, flowing, tries galore style of game, Shirley.
Yeah, big time. Both teams have shown in the preseason they like to chuck the ball around. Been really impressed by the Blues. I think them and the Highlanders probably won the old preseason cup if there was such a thing. So I'm excited to see how this team goes this year. Like I said last week, so many points to prove. I'm glad this game's in Whangarei and not in Fiji, because I'd be snapping up that point start if it was over in Suva or somewhere similar, because the Drua, they're a different beast at home. But I think first up to start the competition, you'd have to back the Blues to continue some of that preseason form. It's going to be an interesting game, though. There's going to be plenty of tries. And, yeah, whenever the Drua are playing, the overs on the points is always a solid option.
But the Blues, they look to be too strong for the Drua, especially, as Shirley said, in New Zealand as opposed to over in Nandi. You happy with the $1.16, $1.14, sorry, the Blues are?
Yeah, I'd probably jump on that. Just purely the fact that the Blues are tracking really well in terms of their outcomes and how they're tracking. So, I mean, it does help that they've got a pretty good head coach that pretty sound technically. So, yeah, I'd definitely jump on that, even though I love watching the Drua play footy. It's so entertaining. It's kind of like the old saying of the Hurricanes. You know, they try and tell us to bloody be more structured, but you just can't help yourself. The Drua, exactly like that. Say a bit of structure, man. Never mind. Just play.
Well,
you always want to expect the unexpected with them.
The structure usually starts with the halfback, right? So,
oh no, well, maybe sometimes. I mean, I don't want to say no to Jerry. All right, so if Jerry tells me, give me the ball, give it to me. Okay, yeah, I will. Yeah, we will do that.
Smart call.
So, were there times during your career with I'm sorry, we're going off on another thing, but were there times where there must be, because we watching games, it certainly seemed like it, where you boys on the field went, nah, we got to have a go here, guys. Let's just have a go. I know all the structure and that no, let's just have it. And was a decision made on the field at times where no, let's throw the book out the window and let's just throw the ball around and have a bit of fun. Did that actually happen during you?
Yes, it did happen. It happened quite a few times. I think that's why Colin Cooper had grey hairs. Where I am bloody at first 5'8", trying to do a trip and chase in my own 22, and he's looking at me like, what the heck is going on? We didn't practice that for exits.
Play what's in front of you, eh? Play what's in front of you.
That was always the answer back to him. Oh, you just said to play what's in front of you. We saw the opportunity, Coops. And we gave it a crack.
Oh, jeez. Well, let's move on to the next game. Next game we look at Highlanders, Moana Pacifica. And the Highlanders, who, as Shirley just mentioned, one of the form teams of the preseason, went through unbeaten. They're $1.30. To take on Moana Pacifica, who are $3.50. The Highlanders 10.5-point favourites at home, and the game total 62.5. Once again, a high octane, free flowing game, Shirley.
Yeah, I guess when you combine, you're under the roof down there at the Sistema lunchbox, you know the conditions are going to be making for some fast footy. And historically, whenever these two teams play, there are plenty of points on offer. I think the preseason game went over that line just. So, yeah, I'm expecting a bit of razzle-dazzle from both sides. This young Highlanders side, they'll be fit and they'll be up for it. Hopefully they get a full zoo and the locals come out to support them. I see they're doing kids for free and stuff like that. So they're trying to attract big crowds. And then Moana, it's a bit of a new look for them under Tana. They got a pretty new coaching group as well, some new players. So they'll be out to prove a point. I think they'll have a bit of a chip on their shoulder too. So I expect them to express themselves and play some exciting code. I'm looking forward to this game. I always like watching Moana anyway, much like the Drua. They're a team where you can expect the unexpected. And then the Landers, especially that back three, guys like Sam Gilbert as well in the 10 jersey, they get me really excited. So, yeah, plenty of points on offer in this one.
Right. You just said, Pity, that the worst possible, or one of you just said the worst possible start for the Canes was having to travel to Perth to take on the Force. And surely this is the best possible start for the Highlanders at home under the roof against the bookies outsider for the competition.
Yeah, well, any atmosphere down there is always electric. I mean, it's like a party going on while the rugby's going as a reward. The rugby's there, you know. So if I'm pretty sure with the support that they have in the zoo, but not only just in the zoo, the crowds that come in and support. Obviously, it's a bit better now that they've got a roof. Everyone can sort of walk out of the stadium nice and dry, not too cold, even though there is a bit of wind that comes through there. But it makes for a good opportunity for them to throw the ball around because, there's no dew underfoot or, the ball being quite slippery. So I am still tipping the Landers after all the results that they've been getting through with preseason. But it'll be good for Tana and his boys. I know Tana's away at the moment. He's back here with his sister passing away, but he's I'm pretty sure he'll be keeping a close eye on the boys and how they're tracking and making sure that they get everything done that they need to in terms of preparation so that they can give it a good nudge on the weekend.
Oh, that's very sad news, Pity. How we send our thoughts and prayers out to Tana and his family. Yeah, very, very sad. But hopefully, Moana, think of that. I guess
It's a tough one.
Yeah,
because Tana's on one side and his nephew's on the other.
Right.
And it's actually Peter and Thomas's mum that passed away. So, for Tana, they actually, obviously they had preseason last week on Friday and going down to see the final and all that. But it's a tough one for the boys. I'm pretty sure they'll be having a few words with Uncle and making sure that he takes it easy. But yeah, today's their tangi for the Peter and Thomas in terms of their mother who sadly passed away last Friday, Rachel Umanga. So yeah, tough day for the Umanga whānau at the moment, and it'll be a tough one for Peter to head back down and join the squad.
Right. I'm taking we're all on the Highlanders in that game.
Yeah.
Okay. We move on. I think this is the last game we're going to have a look at. No, that was the last game. Oh, jeepers creepers. Right. Every week, what's going to happen is we're all going to have a virtual $100 to spend. Now, you've still got $100 to spend on your futures, so you're going to put the whole 100 on Will Jordan to be top try scorer.
I
had him to crash out.
Try scorer,
So
and
you're
then
gone.
he's out. Lucky I haven't made those bets yet.
So have you decided where you're going to put your $100 for the futures markets of the Super Rugby Pacific 2024 tournament?
Yeah, for the winners, I've put 25 on the Blues and also 25 on the Canes. I want to try and have my foot in both doors here, just in case, doing a little bit like what Surly was doing with his pick. And then I was banking on Will Jordan to be one of my top try scorers, but I've gone with Mark Talia. And I've actually, just because he's in the Drua and I know how good and entertaining they can be, I've decided to go with Taniela Rakuro for my top try scorer. I put 25 on those two for top try scorer. For my
Nice.
futures.
Yeah.
And plus he's paying really well, but I'm pretty sure if the way the results are with Drua, they're going to throw the ball around I just need him to be on the field every week. That's always the toughest part. You pick your bloody top try scorers and then they're not on the field and you're like, oh, that's not going to work for me.
That ain't working. Righty-ho. Let's get to round one. Surly, you've got your $100 ready to spend. Where are you going this week?
I went $25 on the Chiefs 1 to 12 at $2.60 because I think regardless it's going to be a tight game, so I like those odds. And then I chucked 75 on a multi with Blues, Landers, and Chiefs all to win, paying $2.50. So I'm taking a big swing there on lesser odds, but back in 3 New Zealand sides to get the job done. Notice I've left the Hurricanes out. That was a head over heart one.
Purposely done that, Shirley.
That was head over heart there. Go the Canes, but yeah, slightly worried.
Was that 50 on each of those, or was that
25 on the Chiefs 1 to 12, and then 75 on my multi, just to make it worthwhile. But rumours Pity tried to cash out his 200 because he didn't spend the 100 last week, and then realised it was only virtual money. So you can't do that, bro. You can't do that.
Who's going to expose me for, Shirley? Jeez. Thought we were mates.
He messaged me. He was like, bro, how do I get this money out from Paulie? I was like, mate, it's not how it works.
right? Pity, round one.
I was picking the Canes on 1 to 12, 25. And then I was actually a bit like Shirley. I was going to do done a multi. And I was picking the Chiefs, Canes, and the Landers. I was going to put 50 on them.
25 left.
Yeah, I was going to put that on the first try scorer.
Nice.
For the first round, and that'll be D-Mac. 25 on D-Mac to score the first try.
Big season ahead, eh?
Make it worth my while, please, D-Mac. Come on, guys.
Yeah, come on.
I know it's only virtual.
You do now. Oh, gee. I'm going to start fairly conservative, and I'm just going to put my whole $100 on a double, and that's the Chiefs head-to-head at $1.60 into the Force plus 11.5. $100 on that. Happy to stick with that. I think. Look, if the Canes beat the spread there, I'll be very happy. Happy that they've got the season off to a good start. I just think it's such a tough place to go, and it may take them a game or two before they find their feet. So tough start to the season for the Canes. But yeah, Chiefs head to head, Force plus 11.5. I'm just having a look. I'll let you know the promotions that we've got on Super Rugby this season. I'm pretty sure that the boys are going to have same game claims on a number of the Super Rugby matches. I'm just checking them now. Yeah, so this week you get a same game claim. So just place a 3 or more leg same game multi and get a refund up to $50 as a bonus bet if you miss by 1 leg. This week's qualifying games: Chiefs Crusaders, Rebels Brumbies, Force Hurricanes, Blues PG and Drua, Highlanders Moana Pacifica, and Reds Waratahs. So once those same game multis are available, you can have a little stab, and if you miss by 1 leg on those 3 or more league same game multis, you could get a bonus bet back up to $50. So well worth having a go there. Also, we're going to be running a tipping comp this year, a leg up TAB Super Rugby tipping comp, and you can go up against Pity and Surly. Don't worry about me. I'll be at the back of the field.
Hey, last week you said you were going to win it, mate. What are you talking about?
I'm pretty sure you're going to copy Shirley's and change his ones for him so that he doesn't win.
I'm nervous about this Force one now. Paulie's jumped on board, and they'll probably lose by 70 and I'll get sprayed next week. But hey.
So, yeah, it's there's a link in the Punters Lounge on the TAB website or TAB app. So just go there. It's open to all TAB account holders. Sign up. And there are prizes as well at the end of the season. So if you like your tipping comps and you want to see if you're better than Pity or better than Surly, here's your opportunity now. So the comp doesn't start until round 2. So we've still got over a week for you to get in. So you can join for round 1 and have a little go, but those points won't count towards the season. So
I might start figuring it out now.
The comp starts round 2. Pity and Surly, they're ready to go. I'm very, very keen to see just how close these two boys get. But yeah, the Super Rugby tipping comp for the pick and go. The links in the Punters Lounge, just head there, click on it, and away we go.
I'm real nervous now about this.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you pick with your head and not your heart, you'll probably beat us too, because we'll just be backing our teams every week. So there we go.
I guess the big question is, if you're very, very keen on a team and they get off to a bad start, do you then change your system or your outlook and go, no, this team isn't going quite as well as I thought they might, Surly. I'm going to have to change the way I look at this comp and reassess things.
Well, yeah, that would be the smart answer. But you know me, mate, as a Warriors fan, you just got to keep riding it and just back your team every week. So, yeah, that would be the smart thing, to reassess and go back to the drawing board. But it's often so hard to go against your team. So tipping comps are always tough, because sometimes you need to put your brain over your love for a team, which can be tough to do. And the 1 week you do that, your team will probably get up, and then you'll get sprayed by the boys in the chat. So yeah, be careful.
Eddie, I'm sure that you will just back the Canes every single week, regardless of how the season's going. You cannot back against them, or can you?
No, I'm like Shirley. Like if I'm backing them and they lose, I've just got to stick with it. No matter what. As much as the head will be like, you're an idiot. They're not doing that well. It's like, no, well, the heart's saying stay there. Stay in the fight.
Yeah.
Keep the faith. Keep the faith.
Keep the faith always.
Up the Canes. All righty. Thanks to Surly for joining us once again. Thanks to Pity for coming into the studio in Petone here. And thanks to you guys for listening, watching. We'll be back next week with a review of how terribly we went in round one.
I'm going to better type these down. Which ones did I pick again?
Yeah.
And a preview of round two. And don't forget, sign up for that tipping comp. There will be bonus bet prizes at the end of the season. So, yeah, check that out. And we'll catch you all again next week.